we went to our local Turkish restaurant to get some food one night, and there were people in there like, Billy, oh my God, it's Billy Mitchell, can we have a photograph? And we'd just gone down to get some food to bring home for the family, and they're getting stopped. So they're not A-listers, but they're well known within, particularly Billy. Zach's sort of been stopped a couple of times. So, you know, it can go to your head. But I always just say to him, just remember the little bits, be humble, don't let it get bigger than you, because I feel like we as a family, we're quite a grounded, nice family, and yeah, just enjoy the little bits.
Welcome to Behind the Boots, the podcast where we have the unique and rare opportunity to explore all things youth football from a parent perspective.
And today we are so excited, I can tell you, to welcome Emma Mitchell. Welcome, Emma.
Welcome, Emma.
Morning, ladies. Morning.
So, little intro. Emma is from South London and is mum to two boys, Billy, who's 22, and
Yes.
Zach, who is 18.
Yes.
Okay, so both your boys are professional players. Billy's at Millwall, Zach is at Charlton. So both in South London. So Emma, how have you done it? You don't have to travel very far to go to home.
I have to say, that is a real bonus. But as you know, you don't pick your academies pick you. Mm-hmm. So I think just based in this area and where they used to play football when they were little, they were obviously scouted by those more local clubs at the time. So really good for me, because Charlton, the training ground for Charlton is literally 5 minutes from my house. And the training ground for Millwall was actually about 10 minutes from my house. So absolutely blissful. So yeah, it did actually help, because when you're juggling two, it really makes a difference. So Billy was sort of in the daytime, but Zach was in the evening. So yeah, it's quite full on, but actually made it much, much easier for me.
Wow. Well, I love it. Well, we wanted to kick off with, what we think is probably the most important question that everybody wants to know. Emma, are you currently retired, swanning it up, driving a Ferrari around southern Spain?
You can speak to my... No, I have my own car, my own house, and I still go to work 9 to 5 every day. So I am banking on them letting me retire at some point, although I think that, that's a bit premature at the moment. I think they're doing well enough for themselves, and I want them to establish their life, themselves, and when they're sorted, then they can look after mum or mummy. But, they're a bit old for the whole thing now, so they can look after mum then, definitely. So I wish I was driving around and retired. I do say to them, boys, I think you need a PA. I think you need a PA.
Yes.
I think mum needs to be your PA, but they're not biting on that one just yet.
Listen, don't joke about that PA thing, because I was helping my son pack for his pre-season yesterday, and I made a joke about, what do you think this is? Am I your PA? And he hasn't stopped calling me his PA ever since. He's like, just put that over there, please, PA. And I'm like...
PAs earn a lot of money, boys. You have no idea. I'm working on it. I'm really working on it. But yeah. I don't think they need me quite like that just yet.
Not just yet, but soon. So let's get into the nitty-gritties of your football life. And where does football come from? Is it deep rooted in the family?
Oh, in the whole family. Yeah, the whole family are mad football fans. And actually, it's really nice, because half my family are Millwall fans and half my family are Charlton fans. So, so that's really, really nice, actually.
Where do you sit?
Where do I sit? I sit wherever my boys play.
I
always sit in the middle. And as I told you, ladies, the boys have a pre-season friendly soon on the 25th of July. So I'm going to have half and half T-shirt, half blue, half red. I don't know where to sit, what to do. So, yeah. I mean, as a young girl, my dad always played football. And I always watched him like Sunday league. So I went every weekend to watch my dad. And my dad is one of the boys' biggest fans. He travels all over the country with me. He's amazing. So, yeah, so I always watched my dad, cut the oranges, used to go and do washing of the kits in the laundrette. He used to pay me to do that. And so it started from my dad. Yeah, it started from there.
So you have always been a football PA?
Yeah.
In the blood.
Qualified. I'm qualified here. Can do the oranges. Definitely. But yeah, so it's always started from a really young age, and then obviously the boys started, and their dad played football to quite a good standard. But obviously I wasn't so into that at the time, being the girlfriend. But I think they definitely get it from there, from my dad and their dad for sure.
Was it given that they would play football just for fun, or did you kind of?
I think I think at the time, Billy was always really keen. They both always loved to kick a football. But we always allowed them to explore different sports. They were really good doing biathlons at their school, so they're good swimmers, good runners. I think sometimes you find children that are naturally sporty can do lots of sports, but we always encourage them to try everything. But I think naturally when they started kicking a football, they just gravitated to football. Zach was always a little bit like, I don't want to play football, because he used to be dragged everywhere to watch Billy. So I think he had this sort of, in the beginning when he was about 3, I don't want to play football. I don't want that. And I was like, what would you like to do? I want to swim and I want to do tennis. Okay, let's swim and do tennis. And then we got him in at about 5. One of our friends' dads set up, my brother-in-law's friend set up a little football team, and Zach went, and then it was like, he never looked back. From the age of 5, he just never, ever looked back. But I think you have to allow children to explore everything. So I don't think if you're a pushy parent and you push them into it, it helps them. It's got to be their decision. Especially, as you know, when you get to this level, if it's not their decision and they're not happy with it, they're not going to follow through. So we allowed them to try everything, and they tried everything, but definitely football was the passion. Always.
But also there's a lovely lesson in there, like kids, from 3 till 5 do change their minds, so I was the same with my third boy. He was a bit like, I don't want to do football, but I kind of just kept taking him because we paid. So but he in the end he loved it, he after a few. So sometimes, as parents, it's quite easy, isn't it? Oh, okay, you don't like it and never go back.
Exactly.
It's quite, keep trying different things.
Yeah, just try it. Just, each child will find their own niche, I think. And you just have to allow them to just explore all those opportunities, because any sport at all, as a parent, I think, and especially if they dedicate their time, you just lose your life. You have to dedicate your whole life to taking them training and all of that, the feeding, the homework, just juggling all of it. I think it's a big ask of everybody. So you want them to feel passionate. And if they're passionate, as a parent, you will just go with that passion. So I think you have to allow them to explore everything, which is what we did. They did tennis. They're both very good golfers as well. They love to play golf. So that's really nice. So they embrace it all, always. But we were always quite a sporty family. So we always did that.
Well, you said something there about, us as parents, like we do get, we often talk about parents getting quite entangled in the journey, because we are there all the time on the sidelines, midweeks, weekends, in all our spare time, basically, as well. Were you sort of working through all this? Was it hard to juggle for you? Like how was it in the early days when they were younger?
It was really hard, because I used to play only not like a sort of league netball in the evenings, and when you have one, you have one doing these nights and one, so one of us used to take them to one place, one of us used to go to another. So then you make those sacrifices. I had to give up my own sport to be able to take the boys. So we used to take them all the time. But yeah, it's just juggling the homework, the dinner, slow cooker. I know I spoke to you about this. Slow cooker dinners were just my absolute saviour. And Zach now always says, no more slow cookers, Mum. I cannot have another slow cooker dinner, absolutely. So, but yeah, I do, because you sort of come in from work and you're constantly thinking, right, where they've got to be tonight. Okay, right, so you get in at 5:30 or 4:45. He needs to be here for 6:00. okay, well, you can't go out, you can't make arrangements to do anything. And everyone always says, oh, we'll meet up. Oh, no, I'm sorry, I have football training and I have to pick them up. So I have to pick them up at 8:00. So pretty much every night of the week, between the two of them, I think there was there was never one day where there was not one of them doing something, because they would always train. Even on a Friday night, they would play Saturdays, one would play on a Sunday. It was a real juggle. It was just constant. You're just constantly. And I remember we used to, if we went away for the weekend or something, my poor mum and dad, or we went away for a few days, I'd have to actually do like an Excel spreadsheet of the days and the kits and what they would need.
Yeah.
And you have 4, so you know, it's just not easy. So we didn't do it a lot, but if there were special occasions, it would be like, Mum, this is the spreadsheet. Yeah. These are all the school kits they need. These are all the football training kits. These have to be washed on these days. So, in your head as a mum, you just know the routine. And then next year it changes and they're all different nights. And you're like, oh, and now they're overlapping and I can't be in 2 places at once. But for whatever the reasons, as I say, my family are amazing. My dad, unbelievable. He would always be the person that would say, like, it's all right, I can pick them up, I'll help you out. He was incredible. Mum always did the food and the washing and helped if we were going away, and Dad did a lot of the driving as well. So it was amazing.
Yeah, that sort of support.
Very, very lucky. Yeah. You need that support. And I really, really feel for people who don't. We didn't ask for the help, but it was always there. So I do really, really feel for, that. I feel for the parents that have to do it on their own. It's really, really difficult.
Well, that's part of why we set this up, Emma, because it was almost like it takes a village to raise a child, doesn't it? It's like if it was all on one person, it'd be very hard to do this, especially with 2, or, 2 kids wanting to do it. It'd be near impossible, wouldn't it? And it does take quite, a lot of juggling, doesn't it, to get them to where they need to be with what they need.
Yeah, and I suppose they don't even think about it, because they just think, oh, it's Monday, I'm going football training. Oh, it's Wednesday, but there's the washing of the day. The football boots. Scrubbing the boots. I was always the boot cleaner. I was like cleaning the boots, washing the kits.
I tell you, I don't think my son has actually cleaned one pair, but maybe one. It's crazy.
They always
we do it all. So Emma, just take us through. Obviously, there's 4 years between Billy and Zach.
Yeah, just short of 4 years. Yeah.
How is that in terms of how their journeys have gone? Like, have they followed a similar path? Did Billy do it one way and then Zach to the other?
No, it couldn't have been more different. Completely different journeys. So Billy didn't get signed professionally, or say professionally, but semi-professionally, into Millwall until he was 15. So he trialled at some other clubs, and he had a very long trial at one club in particular, and it didn't really work out for him. I think he just wasn't the right profile for the club at the time. And Zach was also in trial. So Billy was 11. Zach was 7, and they were both. So Zach was in an elite development squad and got picked up by the club. Billy was also trialling for the club, and Zach stayed there. Zach's been at the academy since he was 8, at Charlton Academy. Billy had trialled with clubs, didn't get signed, went back to his grassroots, and he was at Thamesmead Town for quite a while. It was quite difficult. So, but Billy then went to play for Kent. He went to North Kent, then North Kent, then Kent, and did amazing in those teams, and then got sort of picked up and then Millwall saw him, and within 6 weeks they sort of said, yep, we want to offer you a place, and he was signed. But the journeys are really different. So Billy has to work really. They both are so dedicated that Billy his journey was just so much more difficult. He's always had to work really, really hard to get everything, and he is so determined. And I remember
it didn't just come easy. Like he had to work.
He was always super talented. People had always said he was really talented, but sometimes it's where you are at that time at the right place. And if you don't get picked up sometimes when you're young, when you get signed to an academy, they always say you have got to be better than what they've already got, because if those nurtured their children from the age of 8, 9 and 10, if you then go in as a trialist, you have to be better than what's there, because they're not going to give up the people that they have homegrown and trained themselves for someone that they don't know anything about. So you have to be better. So I was really proud of Billy for actually then making it at that age. But I always think, just don't give up. Always have that belief that you can do it and that it's going to work for you, which he did, and he worked really hard. And when he signed into, so he got signed at under 15s, and then they offered him his scholarship. And I always remember Billy saying to me while he was doing the scholarship, he said, Mum, he said, I'm going to work hard every single day like it's my last game of football, because if I'm not good enough, but I know every day I went in and tried my best, then I can't give any more. If they don't want me after that, then that's fine. But I know that I'm not going to look back and go, oh, I wish I just worked harder. I wish I'd done this attitude, or I wish I'd done that. And I always remember thinking that he was only 15, 16, and had this really amazing mental attitude. And within 6 weeks, they were like, no. And they really brought him out. Things were quite difficult for us at home at that time. His dad and I were, going for a tricky separation. But he had this really, really strong mentality. But I think that Millwall and football definitely helped him at that time, more than anything, because I think the sport keeps children active and their brains in a really good place. So to do the sport. But yeah, he was amazing, and they signed and they could see potential in him. And then they made him captain. And I think his then personality just flourished. So I'm always grateful to those two coaches at the time that sort of gave him that belief. Whereas Zach was just super confident and got signed at he went into the elite development squad because, they get signed at 9. So under 8, he got signed for the, under 9s, got his first contract with Charlton. And I wouldn't say everything comes easy to Zach, because Zach is one of the most disciplined people I've ever met in my whole life. He is so focused, so disciplined. So he equally works as hard, but his luck and his opportunities always seem to come much easier, if that makes sense. And it's always like he's the little brother, so it's always like, oh, you're Billy's little brother, you're Billy's little brother. But now he's sort of establishing himself in his own right as a player. So yeah, the journeys were really, really different, and Zach's been there. So whereas Billy had to work really hard to get into it, Zach, the journey was there, but you have to then still be good enough to maintain that position. And Zach's done amazing, and he got his scholarship sort of 18 months early. So he was, so it was really, really cool. Really.
And in terms of them supporting each other, how did that work? Was there any sibling rivalry?
No, they never argue. They never fight. They're never jealous. Honestly, it's the weirdest situation, because you get a lot of siblings that always argue, that, there's this. But I remember, so Zach got his contract for Charlton whilst Billy was being released from the trial at the time. And he said to me, he said, Zach, I'm so proud of you. He said, I'll be your kit man. I'll wash your boots. I'll do your kit. I'll lay it out for you. And he's always been this really inspirational big brother. So if you speak to Zach, he will just say, Billy's my inspiration, and he's been through it. I will, if I have any issues or have any problems, and I would go talk to Billy and he would answer my questions for me. So, but there's always something. So Billy will break into the first team and then Zach will be plodding along. But their lives seem to run parallel. So within a couple of months, if one wins an award, the other one ends up winning an award, or someone gets selected for something, then they seem to always be able to run their lives quite parallel, which I hope that never changes. Because for me as a mum, it's really nice to say, right, we don't do jealousy. So if Billy's won something, we embrace that. It's Billy's moment. Let's all celebrate Billy. I don't say, well, but you're doing great, Zach. You're doing great. And then if it's Zach's moment, we always say, Zach, it's your moment. And we celebrate Zach, because I think you have to allow them to celebrate those moments. So they're amazing. Okay. They're like truly, you can't do the jealousy thing, I think, in families. You have to be on a level.
Did they do it a little bit and you cut it?
No, never. Oh. So Billy's quite a chilled out character.
Tell us more.
We need to write notes. Where's my notepad?
No. Billy's a very, very low maintenance. They're very low maintenance, but Billy's a people pleaser, and he just tries really hard to just make life nice for everybody. Zach is our joker. He's our funny one that makes us all laugh. So I think where Billy was always just really nice and not the older brother that was always digging, I think Zach never felt like he was in competition, and he always just had like a mentor. So I think that I don't know, it's just something that they worked out between them. They were really good, really good.
It comes from the home as well, Emma. You know what I mean? Of your spirit. I mean, we've spoken to you before, and we were like, yeah, we can see why you're just so, down to earth.
Oh, thank you.
This is what I want to dig into, Emma. Is there an Emma that's standing on the sideline that's like, take him down, or is
Actually, I don't like it if I ever think people are really sort of bashing them up on the pitch, or or they can't stand. But they're very different builds. They're very different people. They're like the complete opposite personalities. Billy's a very slim build. He has to be centre mid position. Zach's a defender, so Billy's like 5'10" and a half. Zach's 6'2". They're completely different people. But I think because they're academy football, you can't coach from the sidelines. You can't shout. So I might say, well done, and I'll get really excited, but I don't generally say so much. And I think parents shouldn't say stuff on the sidelines. I don't know what you ladies are like, but I just think that sometimes parents actually offer too much advice. I don't know. We have our conversations at home, but I think that they're coaches, they're managers, they're the people that know what they're doing. All the parents, unless you are somebody in football that has qualifications to advise, I don't think we should conflict what's going on that pitch with our children at all, because I think it's quite damaging to them personally, because we don't know if the manager one day said, I don't want you to be totally involved. I want you to concentrate on doing this today, because I want to see if you could do this. I want to know if you can play this role for me on this day. So you may not be the superstar on the pitch that day, but you have done exactly what you've been asked to do. But your parent will think, well, why didn't you drive down the line? Why didn't you set the goal up? Why weren't you the superstar? We all want our children to be the superstars. Like, listen, don't take it that I don't want my child to be man of the match every week. Of course I do. I couldn't be more proud if they were, everyone says, oh, they were amazing, they're amazing. But I always feel that we don't know what goes on in that changing room, and we don't know what they've been asked to do on that day. And sometimes there's a lot of bad press around certain things. And I wouldn't say I'm sort of more animating with that. What I do struggle with is some of the feedback and the comments from fans and stuff like that. That's what I find quite hard to take, because I think you have no idea what goes on in that changing room. You don't know what they're being asked to do. And we all want them to be the best one on the pitch, especially me. I am their number one fan. Yeah. So I think that we need to just cut them a little bit of slack sometimes, because they're human, they're going out. I don't perform at 100% every time I go out and do my job, so yeah. But
we love that. We love that advice. Yeah.
So I think for parents, just back off. Just back off a little bit and just wait and see what they've been asked to do before we critique our children's games. Because if we were that good, we would be those professional athletes, and we are not. So let them do their job, but they let us do ours.
That's a mic drop moment right there.
Boom. well, it is interesting. Like, a lot of people, a lot of parents on the side, you must have seen it as well, being in grassroots as well with, Billy at the, a lot of parents really do take it on themselves to be very involved and give a lot of advice, and not just to their kid.
I know, exactly. To someone else's children, you think, oh, please, they do. I understand. It's just we all, at the end of the day, you love all the children in the team, and particularly Zach. He's grown up with these children and played. So I have a lot of friends whose children have come through this whole thing with Zach, and you're as proud as those children as you want it for them as much as you want it for your own. But ultimately, it's our children. We all love our own children, and we want it for our children. We want it for everybody else, but we want it for ours more than anything else.
Yeah.
Me personally, I just don't like the criticism on the sidelines. It's something that it just doesn't sit right for me. So if I hear it, sometimes I try to sort of just move away, stand somewhere else, and then I just like to watch quietly and then have my own, I'm not a football guru. I've watched enough football, but I wouldn't say I'm someone who's qualified, but I can look at a game and know if I think the team did well or not did well, or I thought this player was good. And I'll talk to the boys when they come home, or they might come home and go, it's the worst game I've ever played. And I said, no, I don't think it is. they'll go, well, it's because of this, this and this. But I think, I don't know, always try and give them some honest advice, but don't be harsh about it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, I always believe. And I think some parents are really critical, particularly dads can be quite harsh. So I think sometimes, you see some of the dads on the sidelines and they're living it through their children and their boys and mums, I'm not going to say, live it through their children. And you just think, calm down, just calm down. So, yeah. So I just think, just try. They're doing their best. And you want them to have fun as well. It's the best job in the world.
Absolutely. It really is, Emma. And with that, when you obviously you've been through this twice with your boys. So have you seen how parents, maybe if they are entangled or perhaps their behavior is not in liking to the club's environment, have you seen that go wrong? Did you think that it impacts?
Yeah, firsthand I do. And I know that sometimes it can have a detrimental effect on some children, and their ability to stay at the club, because sometimes if the parents are too involved and they're constantly ringing the managers or the coaches, or there's issues and they want to push the child on, I think they can have a detrimental effect, because the club might just think the child's great, but we can't deal with the parent. So, and I have heard that, and they've been banned from certain places and, can't go to certain clubs because they're so irate about a situation, and I think the clubs have to be really careful, because they can't be seen to be singling out certain parents. But what they'll do is they'll blanket message everybody, but really they're actually saying, please don't get involved. So it's quite tricky for the clubs to manage. But I think at academy, it's much, at grassroots, I think it's a lot harder. I've got a nephew, he's 13, and my brother-in-law runs the team. And sometimes if I get a chance, I go and watch my nephew. And this is just obviously because it's Sunday football. The parents, the dads, they're like, the academy, it's much easier because we know we can't coach from the sideline. We know that we can't scream and shout because we'll be asked to leave.
They'll deal with you.
They'll deal with you. Or they'll say, you can't come, you can't watch, But they have other ways. Parents, like, it's just the look, the parents, the kids are always looking to think, have I done the right thing? And seeing if the parents are looking. But at the grassroots, there are some parents and you think, oh my gosh, you're going to have a heart attack if you carry on. And it's not good for these little children, because they're meant to go out on a Sunday or on a Saturday, play a nice game of football, come home and they've done some good exercise. They get in the car on the way home and, they get told off for not being the best. And you think, they probably think, I don't want to do this anymore. That's why I've got to think they've got to pick the sport that actually is most exciting for them, that they have that biggest connection to. But that's what I think. I think you just got to make your children happy the best way you can.
Well, Emma, what I was hearing is so humble, and you've grown up with football, you've been around football all your life, and yet you don't think that you know better. And something that I was thinking when you were saying that is the arrogance of ignorance. Do you know what I mean? Some people come in and I feel like because they're not really around football, they never played any sport at a good level, they kind of don't really put things together that actually it'd be very off-putting to be screamed at on the sidelines. Do you know what I mean? Like, because they just haven't quite understood it.
They haven't, or they don't understand what the guidelines are from the managers or the coaches. We have no idea what goes on in that changing room half an hour before. I think about Billy and Zach, they now come out and they're playing in stadiums. Billy, week in, week out, comes into the Den, the Lions Den. I mean, we all know that the Den is that place that, I love it there. I actually think the fans are amazing. I know there's a few people and it has a really, really bad reputation as a club. But I've been in lots of the meetings, and the club internally are a really great place to be. When Billy signed his first professional contract, it was the head of the academy said, we have a reputation, and we do have that. There are some fans that, you get fans in all football clubs that are a little bit, that seem to spoil it for other people. Yeah. I don't know the reason for that. I know they're very passionate, but I don't. Me personally, I don't understand it. If you love the game, go and enjoy the game. And the head of the academy had turned around to all the boys, and I always remember it, and he said, I don't care how well you make it in this club. When you go into the dining room, you thank the dinner lady. If you see the cleaner, you thank the cleaner. If the kit man's doing your boots or whatever they're doing, you make sure that you speak to everybody in the club and you thank them for what they're doing, because whatever goes on outside of this club is not what goes on inside of it. And I just thought, what a great statement to these 16-year-old boys that are actually walking into their scholarship. And it's just always stuck with me. And I think that, you know, inside the club, the players, the club itself, I know a lot of the people that work within Millwall, and they're really great. But also I know a lot of people at Charlton, because I used to run the Sunday kiosk down there. I had the kitchen, so I was the one that did all the bacon rolls and the tea and coffee.
Oh, Emma,
the loved one.
I did. So on a Sunday,
I want to be in your club.
You can be in my club all the time. I don't do it anymore because obviously I have a full-time job now, because I'm waiting for the Ferrari and the house and to be the PA. But so I don't do it anymore because I work full-time. But I did do it while Zach was there. This was about 5 years ago, but I did it for 4 years. So I was really, really close to everybody at Cheltenham. And both clubs have really good work ethics in there. You know, they push the kids quite tough. It is that kind of industry where it's it's a sink or swim. You have to go in, you have to give it your all, because if you don't give it your all, there'll be another child that will. You ladies know this. But I think that but I have a very close bond to both clubs for both reasons. And I love the people in both clubs. You know, when I go, I know lots of people now, so it's really nice. I turn up for games like, oh, hello, because they've been there for so long now. It's really nice. But I think. Well,
Emma, we want to come. We want to day out with Emma to both clubs.
Come, ladies. I would love that. I could definitely sort that. That's not a problem. I would absolutely love to meet you ladies off this Zoom call face to face.
Absolutely.
But I just think it's lovely for the boys. It's really lovely. But I think the point of the conversation, sorry I went off my tangent, was that you don't know what goes on in those changing rooms. You don't know what your children are being asked to do. Just wait and see. And I find the fans can be quite difficult. So I was always told, that fans, they all come and play football, but if they were really good, they would be the ones playing, but yet they're the harshest critics.
Right?
They're doing that great. You'd be playing.
How do you deal with it? Because, how do you deal with it? Like, because I think it would really, I think we were talking before, where I've got that image of Ronaldo's mum, when he was playing in the World Cup or something, walking down the street, just like, I can't go. Like, she just couldn't even watch it. I think, when there's more pressure, there's more people criticizing, do you find that hard, and what do you do? How do you manage it?
It was, obviously Zach's just starting this journey. So he's had his 10 games for Charlton. So this is his sort of, hopefully, his breakthrough season into the first team. So excited. He's made Charlton's first team website now, and he's listed as a first teamer, and he's got a new squad number. So, I always say to the boys, enjoy those moments, because, Billy's well established now. He's a regular first team. But I always say, remember the little moments, because you can get so caught up in this world of being a footballer and earning your money. And, it's nice. There's so many sacrifices for them as well. But just enjoy these moments. Zach, you've just got your new squad number. You're number 24. You've actually, you've done that. But I say, look at it all. I love it. But I think your question about how do I handle it, I found it really hard. When Billy started at Millwall, he's a homegrown player, Millwall fan. So all the fans absolutely was like, it's great, Billy this, Billy that, he's homegrown. And he went in.
It's one of our own.
Billy Mitchel was one of our own. This is it. They sing, And honestly, I used to walk into the den, and I'd walk with my dad, again, always my dad, and I'd walk in and I'd be, oh my gosh, all these people know my son. And I wanted to have like a big hat to say, Billy Mitchell's mum, Billy or a T-shirt or a jumper or something, because I used to burst thinking, I don't know this many people, but this many people just here know my child. But then you have the other side. It's like, I hope he has a good game, because then all the people like him, what's going to happen. And not because I care about the game. I want him to do well, and I know that he only ever strives to do his best. So for me, I I'm not bothered, but I just don't. And then, so for the first year, he was like the hero. And then he went to zero for a year where the fans weren't on his side and they were really difficult. And I used to read stuff on Twitter and social media, and it was devastating. I mean, Billy came off social media he's off social media. He chooses not to be on it. And I found that really, really hard, because you really want to go back and say, hang on a minute, that's my child. He's doing his best. Are you amazing every single day? I know they get paid a lot of money and that's their job. And I do understand they have to perform, but we are all human beings. And are you amazing every single day? And you want to go back. But I choose to never comment, because I think there's no point getting involved in that. It's not respectful to the club. It's not respectful for Billy. And I certainly am not going to demean myself by having those kind of arguments. But I do find that really difficult. And then all of a sudden it changed, and then Billy's game changed and they looked at it slightly different. And then he sort of came up and become a hero again. So it's like hero, zero, hero. It's really, really, I find that really hard. I'm finding Zach's journey a little bit easier, because I have experienced the journey with Billy. So I know what to expect. I know what's coming. I'm not sort of as it's the anticipation of not knowing, whereas I know that you just have to let the journey be, if you know what I mean. So Zach, I just think, it will come. You will have to sit on the bench, Zach, and wait for your 5-10 minutes. It's easier. I find it easier with Zach. It's like always, like, even if it's not football, it's your first child, you don't know what's coming, and then the second child.
Absolutely.
And I'm so lucky to have two. And people always say, not one, but two. So, but and you don't think about it, because at the end of the day, they're just my children.
Yeah.
So I'm so proud of them. And if they were doing something else, I would be proud. But I actually really don't think about it. People just go, oh, but you've got two. And I'm like, I know, it's lovely. But when they come home, they're still just Billy and Zach. They're still just Billy and Zach to me. So.
Emma, in that sort of that roller coaster you were just describing, how have you been able to, like in Billy's situation, how were you able to sort of support him through those lows? Like, what did you take from? What did you need?
We just used to talk about it a lot, and I would just say to him, listen, Billy's like one of the nicest people you're ever likely to meet. I hope you get to meet both of my children, because they're both amazing. But I just think, he just has this, if anyone meets him, he has this really beautiful way about him. And I used to say to him, Billy, just, you just have to believe in yourself. Don't read it. One day you're going to be I just think football is a game of opinions, and everybody has an opinion. We can all talk about, just say David Beckham. Some people loved him, some people hated him. It doesn't matter. Football is a game of opinions. And I just said to him, but actually my analogy was Adele. And I said, look at Adele. Some people absolutely love her music, and some people hate her music because they say, oh, it's all love songs, it's all dreary, it's all doom and gloom. I said,
love myself.
I love Adele. I said, I would like to be a penny behind Adele. So all I'm saying is she's not rubbish because they're an opinion of her music. So it's an opinion of your football. So just don't take everybody's opinion to heart, because they're entitled to their opinion, but just be you. Just go out and be you and be yourself, because you're actually making a success of your life. So don't worry about what these people say. That was my analogy. So I'd be a penny. I'd love to be a penny behind Adele, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I'd be a penny behind Billy or Zach right now, but that'd be all right.
I was going to say. You know what I heard there though as well. I just really want to try and sort of draw it out a bit more, because have you always been very positive with them? Have you always sort of looked to the good? Like,
I am an optimist by nature, so I try to always. I'm a half full kind of person, so I'm always optimistic, and I think truly, if anything, I got that from my parents. My parents made me feel like I could fight the world and that I could do anything. I used to swim for Greenwich when I was a little girl, and my mum and dad used to say to me, like when I was up to about 12, my mum and dad always used to say that I was amazing. When I look back now, I could see I was I wasn't that best. You know, I was a good swimmer, but I wasn't that amazing. You know, there were people that beat me and stuff like that. So I wasn't always the winner or the champion. But my mum and dad always made me feel like I was the champion. So I think that it's come from them and their grounding. So I feel that, you know, my mum and dad are always on a level. They're always happy. You can call them every day and they're always happy to receive. They're not miserable. Hello, lovely, you okay? And my dad, hello, sweet, are you all right? So I think they've instilled that. And my sister's the same. My sister's a really positive person. I've got a sibling, sister, who's really positive. So I feel that with my children, I just think be positive. And what more could I want from both of them? They're smart. They're intelligent, you know, they've got great careers, they're good people. So I think just try and be positive all the time. Don't be negative. I'm not saying we don't have down days. We all have bad days and down days, you know, we're only human, but ultimately it's not good to be down. So yeah, definitely. But I think I get to my parents.
There's so much wisdom in that. I think I'm learning that more and more, just like you can create negativity or positivity. You might as well. Go positive. You might as well try and be positive about things.
I saw this cartoon thing once. It was like a cartoon picture. And there was two people sitting on a bus going around the side of a mountain. One person was sad looking at the wall of the mountain and the other person was sitting on the other side of the bus looking out to the view. So you get to choose what side of the bus you want to sit on, and it's your choice, it's your life. So you can choose to be miserable. And I'm not saying life doesn't throw you curveballs or make you feel really sad, but it's how you surround I think surrounding yourself by the right people, take the toxic people out of your life. If there's not good people, don't have them in your life, you don't need them. But just, you have the choice. You have the choice to look at the wall or look at the view. So definitely.
I love
Be positive if you can.
I want that view every time.
I want it. I'm not saying I'm 100% all the time.
No, I love the view.
But I try to be. I love the view.
Well, I just want to get a bus down to South London and come and live with you and your family.
Everyone likes our house. It's a warm house.
I want to go to all the matches with you. I just think
talk to me after the Millwall-Charlton game, because I just think my whole so I know that Billy will definitely play, so we're hoping that Zach gets the opportunity to, you know, pre-season they only play.
Tell us a bit about this. So you've got two, because we've talked about this off air, so we just want to make sure like everybody's up to speed on this. You've got your two boys are going to be where is it going to be?
So it's Millwall versus Charlton on the 25th of July. It's a Tuesday, Wednesday night at 7:30. It's at the Den, but it's a pre-season friendly. So in the friendlies, the whole squad only play half the game each. So I did say to Zach, I said, do you think you'll be able to ask your gaffer if you'll be able to play? Because obviously at the moment, Billy is established. So Billy's going to get his thoughts. Zach's still sort of breaking in. So he's like, I can't speak to my gaffer about that, Mum. You've both got, as the parent, this is where I then don't think logically, because obviously it's his job and his manager. I'm like, but you've got Billy and you could be playing against each other. And I'm thinking, but do I want them playing against each other? But I think it'd actually be really good fun. So I said to Billy, if Zach comes on, can you play? I said, I'll ask my gaffer if Zach does come on, would it be possible that I could play the same half? Because, they only get half each of the game because they change the whole squads, don't they, in the friendlies. So I think that night is, I'm actually quite excited for it, but I don't know if he has played the last two friendlies, so I'm hoping that he'll get his 45
Well, listen, that'll make some great
I'm going to have a ticket and I am going, and I'm going to be sitting on that halfway line in red and blue.
I love it. Well, we will put an update about where this ended.
Oh my gosh, can you? But then, I might actually need some advice. So how do I deal with the son that loses?
I know.
Or hopefully it'll be a draw, and
it's a friendly. That's the wonderful thing about this.
But actually, on this night, ladies, I don't think it will be. Millwall and Charlton have never been friendly. They hate each other as a team. So
it is a big rivalry, right?
What am I going to do?
Is it a big rivalry between the two clubs?
Oh yeah, they hate each other. Absolutely hate each other. So I know. So so it's not next week, the week after. So so I feel
I need
excited.
an update on this.
I feel excited but nervous for it.
Can you have a draw in a friendly? Or does there have to be a winner?
I think you can, because they're just friendly games. Because you're not playing for points, are you?
Okay,
so
no penalties, nothing like that.
No.
Result right there.
Oh, boys, it was amazing. What would be great is if they both went out, scored a goal. I'm going to manifest this. So you have to. We like manifestation. So
I love manifestation.
Yeah, we're going to manifest this. So I'm going to manifest they're both going to score a goal. They're not meant to. Billy needs to score some more goals. He would like to have some more goals. That's a defender, so he doesn't score many goals. But if they could both score a goal, it'll be a 1-1 draw. Everyone's happy.
Hello, living the dream.
Bill and Charlton are both going to be going, no, you can't say that. They will go out. They wouldn't. They would actually. So I've had this conversation with them. I was like, you will, if there's a tackle, will you? Yeah, it's my job. I have to go in, even if it's my brother. I have to do my job. I'm like,
I'll say sorry later.
I'll say sorry later. Exactly.
I mean, Emma, in all seriousness, just because obviously I've got you here and I can hear so much wisdom that I'm just like, right, tell us everything. What would you do if your child was getting really disappointed about losing, or was, with sort of negative emotions? Have you experienced that? And what would you do about them? If they get really down on themselves.
I think it's really difficult, isn't it? Because you can't stop how they're going to feel. But I think that I just think so. So, actually, Zach and I had this really good conversation. So Zach had to, because obviously he's just done his 2-year scholarship and then they have to do their 2 years in education. So he wrote this really, really good piece to finish, the diploma, the sports science diploma that he was doing. And Zach's an amazing academic. He's a very, very academic young man. And he wrote this piece, and there was a lot about him that I didn't know, about making the first team, and then the actual gaffer at the time left because the results weren't going right, and he'd just broken in, and then he would have stayed with him, but then he left, and he was really, really struggling. And I'm just trying to think that what I was going to say. There was and I completely forgot
about the piece. What was his piece? What was that about?
Did you realise he'd been struggling with something, or he hadn't been?
No, because Zach's quite quiet. He's a very, very strong person, and he always just sort of keeps himself. But he wrote this really good piece about OCD and tiny shoelaces and having to do things in a certain way, and that he was so low for being then not selected and having to go back in. And he was under 18s, but he was in the 21s, and then he had to go back and play a couple of 18s games, and it's difficult for him. And I just said to him, Zach, don't worry about it, just the journey, just do what you need to do and take every day as it comes, and you're doing amazing. But there was something really that we talked about, and I can't remember. It will come back to me. If we go on, I will remember. But it was quite good. For the penny, you have to cut that little bit out. The brain.
But this is what we're talking about. It for us, it is those moments where you can see that football's just never just all up, is it? Match by match, manager by match, it's all just so up in the air. They've got to be really resilient to cope
massively. It is difficult. And I never realised that he said, I actually felt really low because I thought like it was there. I'd sort of made it and I was breaking in, and then all of a sudden there was a new manager, and I've now got to impress him, and I've got to go out and I've got to do it again. And, it was quite devastating for him. It was quite sad for me to read. I hadn't actually sort of taken that on board, because he's quite private, Zach. He just deals with his emotions in an adult way. And I read this and I thought, wow, that's crazy. I'm really wishing I could remember what I was going to say, because it was actually quite good. It was something that Zach and I agreed on. And I just, it evades me right now. So,
well, if you remember, you could send us a little voice, video.
because it was just about how do you deal with your child, wasn't it? It was with their highs and lows. But yeah, we actually talked about something. Oh, I know. It was he used to come home and he writes a journal at night about what he's eaten and all of that. And he used to say to me, I'd come home every day and I would write down all the things that I had done wrong at football, and I would analyse that. And I said to him, he said, and this was Zach, he said, and I realised that wasn't really good for me. He said, so I'm going to try and write down all the things that I've done good. So we discussed this. So what we actually said is that when you come back, don't look at all the negatives, look at the positives. So when you come back, don't think, I did that really bad, because I think it then makes you go in the next day with you're not manifesting the good stuff, you're manifesting the bad stuff. Mm-hmm. So go in, it'll write every day. These are the things that I did really well today. And don't say these were the things I did bad. I always said to him, these are the things that are ready for improvement. So it's like, how can I improve upon them. So every night at dinner, he came home, and for a week or so, we would say, okay, I said to him, what did you do great today? Oh, Mum, I did this, and I did like a turn. And, because obviously for Zach, he's 18 and he's in there with the men in the first team, and he doesn't want to look like he's showing off, but he also needs to impress. And, so there's also, you don't want to upset your teammates by looking like you're being too flash at 18, but you also have to, you have to balance. And that's another topic as well. But so we'd come home and I'd say, okay, so what are your areas for improvement today? And he would say, I think I can improve on this. I said, we'll go in and do that tomorrow. So what we did was we took the negative words out of it. Yeah. And it wasn't what I did bad, it's what can I improve on and how am I going to improve? So we would talk about that. I think, sorry, what I was just saying, but thinking about the boys, and this was a really big thing for both of them, it's not just about being a footballer and you get spotted. It's about your progression into the changing room. And actually, as people, because ultimately you're going into a changing room and you're going to take someone's space. One of those players there is getting dropped, so you can go on to the for you. So you then have to navigate. And I think this is really difficult for the players. And I can't comment on this. It's only the feedback that I know. And Marcy, you would know from your son. It's they then have to navigate their way into that changing room and be accepted. And you can't go in and be the flash one. And I remember for a long time, Billy was like the coffee person. So on the pitch, they're all like, oh my God, it's amazing. And he's made it. But they would do the coach journeys. And he was the person that would go, yeah, I'll make the coffee, or I'll do that and I'll do that. And he was a first team player himself, but he was the young one. So he had to earn his stripes. He had to do that. And you want to be impressive on the pitch and you want to be the best one, but you also need to be liked by your teammates, and you have to be humble. So there's a real balance between going out and being really flash and cocky, which some of the new ones do come in and do that. So, but you want to be, it's what I'm saying, you want to be liked by your manager and the staff, but you also have to be liked by the captain and the team and all of that. And I know I can see Zach. So Zach's in that transition now where he's in the change room. He's just got a spot in the first team changing room. So, well done, Zach. And it's, it's him, and he's sort of having to sort of be a little bit quiet. But Zach's got a really, really good sense of humour. And Billy always says to him, you're going to be one of the people they love to have in the changing room, Zach, because you have this really good personality. But until he comes out, he's very, very quiet. He's very private, but he has this amazing sense of humour. But he's now navigating his way in the changing room, trying to impress the manager, the gaffer, but also get the first team to actually allow him to be part of that squad and to want to embrace him. And I think that's a real big thing. I can't comment on that because I'm not a part of that. But
it's a bit like going to a new school, isn't it? Sort of,
having a new job.
Having a new job and needing to fit in with the culture, the environment, but still want to be yourself, right? Yeah, it's quite something to have to learn. For sure.
It is. And I tell you what, Emma, we've got a couple things we want to cover off with you though as well, which is business side of football. Because I think a lot of, we've seen a lot of parents coming into this journey, you've quite quickly got to navigate And especially if you've come in at sort of straight away, you're starting to navigate contracts and agents, and it must have all got quite serious quite quickly for you, with Billy, especially because you're sort of coming in at 15 and then they're making that decision, aren't they? And how did you navigate that?
I think for me personally, they don't need agents until they get a second year professional contract. So their second professional. This is only my opinion, because I think I don't know how. I mean, Marcy, you're different. You're in the Premiership club arena, which I'm not. But I think personally at 15, 16, they just need to go in and prove themselves. They've become, they go into the scholarship program. At the end of the day, the scholarship program, what it is, each club will pay what they want to pay for that. You can't negotiate more money. You can't negotiate the contract. It's a 2-year contract. They do that. Then, I don't know how it works for you, but for my experience with Charlton and Millwall, they get their first professional contract. So 18, they get offered their professional contract. I don't necessarily feel they need an agent for that, because the club are basically saying, we think you're great. We want to give you the opportunity now to go and play men's football, and this is what we want to pay you. There's no negotiation in that. What child is going to say, oh, no, thank you, I've been here for 2 years and I don't want that contract? And I think there are some parents that go in and feel that they have this right to then negotiate this contract. I didn't feel like that. I just was glad that they got the opportunity to become a professional footballer and take that journey. After that, and there are some parents that might be a little bit more clued up. I think at that point, then Billy had got an agent. And then, so there were some parents that were trying to negotiate more money on their first professional contract. And I said, Premiership might be different because the clubs have more money, but at Championship and First Division levels, it's very different. They say to you, this is what we're offering you. Do you want it or not? Because if you don't, someone else will take it. I think it's as simple as that. However, if they then go in and they do well, they're breaking into the first team and they've got more about them, then you want an agent to actually start looking at it. So, Billy was actually really good. Billy did a lot of homework himself, and he sort of picked his own agent at the time. But what Billy always said is that he wanted an agent that represented him, not someone that sent someone to go watch him and do all the feedback to the agent, and then the agent went to negotiate with the club. He wanted his agent to be the one who watched him play games, because how can you comment on me if you don't watch me and you send someone else to watch me? So he had a chat with quite a lot of people. It's true, you don't want an agent who doesn't watch your chart. Yeah, you don't want an agent that's got all of the other people that they're sending out to watch you. That was his advice. And I thought, actually, really, that makes a lot of sense. So I think when you get to, say, maybe the second or third professional contract, depending on the length of the contract, that's when you need an agent, because that's when it's the bonus schemes, it's bits like that. So unless you are quite good at writing those contracts,
there's more to negotiate.
It's like coming on as a sub, what you get paid if you're on the bench, what you're going to do if you come on at 81 minutes, what you get for this, what the bonus scheme is, goal bonus, win bonuses. That then all gets a little bit complicated. And I think as a parent, you wouldn't actually know what anyone else is asking for, but the agents have a feel for the clubs. And that's when I feel that you need these intermediaries at that level. But prior to that, and I think some people are like, oh, my son's got an agent. I really think it's unnecessary until they get to that stage.
Yeah, it's one of those buzzwords, isn't it? That, and especially surprisingly at quite a young age, still when it's not allowed, there will still be people thinking that they have to have one because.
I get people message me on Twitter, on Instagram, all the time. Oh, I heard your son. I get friends of friends that message out and, oh, I know so and so, and it's lovely. And I'm like, well, they've both signed. They've both got the same agent now. Zach, I think he signed his slightly younger because his deals all came a lot younger. So his first deal came 18 months early. So he was in his scholarship, and within 6 months, they'd already offered him his professional contract. So we had that. So he had the first professional contract. I think where Billy had one as well, again, it's sort of, the journey is much easier with Zach because you know the pathway, and we were really comfortable with the agent that we have at the moment. And and so Zach did that. Zach also played for England, so he under 15s. So there was a little bit more interest and stuff going on. So I felt like Zach needed a little bit more protection and negotiation at certain points. So he also signed with the agent.
Did you ever at any point feel like it's a lot to have to deal with, or because you were quite clear that they weren't going to have, or Billy wasn't going to have an agent straight off, that it gave you time to sort of think about the process, or did you feel a little bit? Because some people...
Actually, we went to Charlton, and this was prior to, well, Billy had sort of sorted out then, but Charlton actually did a really good evening for the parents, talking about intermediaries, how they work, how the laws had changed, and anyone now can be an agent if they want to. They didn't need, at one point there were 300, I don't know, I'm just making up this figure, but just there were 300 agents but you had to be qualified at that time to be an agent. Now anyone can say they're an agent. Anyone can choose to be an agent.
It's changing again.
Well, then this is what this is great for.
Bringing in more regulations.
More regulations. Yeah. So, I may have that on, but it's like anyone could be an agent at the time. And you don't know, people are approaching your children. You don't know what they're about. I think there needs to be some regulation, especially when you are dealing with children. And everybody's like got an in the club. Everyone, I know this person, I can get you an in, I can do this, I can do that. Everybody knows everybody in football, don't they? So that's what I always felt. I did feel like it was a little bit difficult, but Billy had done some good homework, and he'd also had some additional support with that as well. And he wanted to make those decisions. The bit that I feel a bit unsure about now is also sort of like the financial advisors for. So this is my next thing that I'm now thinking about. So it's like for Billy, he's in a very good situation. And how do you keep the money, invest the money, save the money, and you don't just want a regular financial advisor. You need a financial advisor that can deal with footballers, because the career span is so short. So it's, at the best, you're going to get 16 years, aren't you? At a professional level, hopefully 34, 35, at best. So you want your child also, if this is what they're going to do, because I always think, what will they do afterwards? Hopefully they make enough money that they never have to work again, or they can invest and do something. But this is my next worry. I need Billy to get a financial advisor, or I'll put it on the podcast now, he'll get 1 million people messaging.
Oh, no, listen, we're going to
do not message over.
We are going to be covering all of that on our platform, because you honestly, that's such an important point when it comes
because
to
I just think where for your son, they start earning good money, and you don't, it's really funny because Billy say like, I don't want to spend the money, I want to save it, and I need to buy a house. And he's very, very, very sensible young man. And my dad always said to him, Billy, you do need, my dad's very sensible, but you need some instant gratification. Get a nice car, treat yourself to something. If that's what you want, you have worked for the last 3 years solidly. So buy yourself something that makes you feel good, but then save the rest. Spend a bit, save a lot, and that's the philosophy of our house, but have your fun, have your, sorry, my dad's actually just turned up. Looking at my dad.
Yeah, bring him in. Go on.
I think the door might be locked. Sorry.
Of course you can.
This is my dad.
How'd you do?
This is also the number
How'd
one
you
fan.
do?
Hello, number one fan.
Hello, Mum.
We've been hearing all about. We've been hearing
football. I didn't know you were coming today.
Oh, there you go.
They were coming.
We've been hearing all about the amazing support that you've given your family on the football journey, and just in general, and it's really heartwarming.
Thank you.
It's natural, though, isn't it? It's not like it's not that you're expected to do it. It just becomes very automatic. You find out when they got a game, you think, I'm there.
Yeah, not just that support though, but to me, turning up, the driving, and the
positivity. That's what we've been hearing about.
Yeah. Oh, blimey. That covered a few miles now.
We've been appreciating you.
And a few hours of games.
So I didn't know they were coming, ladies. So
it's lovely to meet you.
Here's in the garage.
All right.
All right.
Oh.
Nice to make yourself a cup of tea, Mum.
Oh, we love that.
Sorry, because obviously we hadn't been out this morning, so my front door was still locked because you can normally just come in. My dad's waving in the window. I'm thinking, so yeah, they're obviously they're doing some decorating.
Listen, it's not Sky. We are parents, families.
No, for sure.
Raising young footballers. That's it. Like, it's not a profession. It's not a profession for us, is it? It's our lives.
What we do, it's our lives. Yeah.
But that is my next worry. So the intermediaries, we are sorted. They've got the same agent. Really like the agent. They pick the phone up. They check in with the boys. When I see them, they talk to me. It's really nice. They sort of give us all a lot of time. I mean, I think the boys are old enough now that I feel that I should treat them as men. If they have any issues or I think there's an issue, then I will ring the agent myself. But I think I've rung the agent once in about 18 months. I choose not to get involved. I think at the right time, if there's an issue, they'll speak to me. But the boys will talk to me and then we'll talk it through. And you've got to let them be the adult.
Teaches them to be responsible and their own.
Nursemaid. And also, I think that they're boys in a men's world. They go in as boys and they learn to grow up ever so quickly because they're 18 and they're with men of 23, 24, 28, 31. So they're not like going to uni where everybody's the same age as them. They're in, the language, the way they get spoken to. And sometimes I say, oh, sorry, boys, for swearing. They say, oh, mum, I get called stuff on the pitch every single day. It's a man's world. It's different. But my next worry is it's the balance.
Well, we might get you to do a special workshop where we could get you some experts that we can grill together.
Great. Yeah, that would be great. Because Billy's like, Mum, I just don't trust anybody. There's a whole other side to our life which we can't go into. But Billy, so Billy's like, oh, I don't know how to invest the money. I don't know if I want to. I don't know who would I trust. And I said, well, I think it's a little bit like your intermediary agent, Billy. We need to talk to a few people and find out what they're all about. And then you pick the one that you feel you have the connection with that you think is going to do right by you. Yeah. But for me, I'm like, just buy property. Just get yourself a house and just invest in properties because then you have an income. Because what do they do after this? They become, I'm like, I'd love them to become, if they can talk as much as me, they should become a pundit.
We'll see them on the telly.
Because I don't talk very much. So. much.
You talk as much as we do.
I know. That's why I feel so at home with you ladies.
That's why we're going to have you on that's why we're all going to be a team soon. I can feel it. I can feel it in the water.
I just love speaking to you ladies. Truly, I do.
Oh, we do.
But how are your boys?
Listen, we know that your parents have just arrived as well, so we're not going to keep you. But I think we do, because we could honestly, we've still got stacks of questions, but we'll do a part 2 for sure.
We will.
Yeah, I guess we want to just maybe finish off by asking. Obviously, your role has changed. You've been the taxi driver and the chef or whatever.
Yes, slow cookers.
Tell us where you are now as a mum, supporting these two, almost grown men. One is a grown man. One's virtually getting there. Just encapsulate that into what's your role now.
I think my role now, honestly, is when they come home, just to make it a very calm, nice environment, cook some good food, share the good stories, and make sure that they're just in a really good place. Because I can't do much more with their journey now. I've took them as far as I can take them. And they both drive, so I don't do any more driving. I'm not a part of that changing room. I'm not part of that. I only ever say to them, the only people that you need to impress are your manager and yourself. So just do that. Just make sure, if that's what you're doing, just be good, be humble, enjoy the little moments, because I think it's so easy and I truly, truly mean this, and I'm not just saying it, I think it's so easy to get caught up in the whole football world and, oh my God, you're a footballer and all
Hype,
that,
yeah.
you know, in the hype of being this, you know, and I don't mean famous, because I feel like that sounds really, you know,
but they've got,
we go out, you know, we walked to the local restaurant and we went to our local Turkish restaurant to get some food one night, and there were people in there like, Billy, oh my God, it's Billy Mitchell, can we have a photograph? And we'd just gone down to get some food to bring home for the family, and they're getting stopped. So they're not A-listers, but they're well known within, particularly Billy. Zach's sort of been stopped a couple of times. So, you know, it can go to your head. But I always just say to him, just remember the little bits, be humble, don't let it get bigger than you, because I feel like we as a family, we're quite a grounded, nice family. And yeah, just enjoy the little bits. But I just like them to come home here where they can just lay on the sofa, watch the TV, they have some good food. We're all quite a tight family. Billy's got a nice, you know, partner, and I've got a nice new partner. So we just have time. We sit, we listen to music, we eat food, lots of food. They eat so much food. Seriously, I need a pay rise just to food.
Tell me about it.
You've got 4 children. I don't know how you do that. But
I don't know either.
The food that goes in this house is unbelievable. So for me, you can tell I adore my children. You know, they come home, and when they are all home, it fills my heart. So I just think when we are all together, we just try to have a nice time. But I can't do the journey now because it's theirs. I just hope that they have the ground, the foundations to know what we've taught them. My mum and dad always say, roots and wings. We give you roots for the stability where you can come here, but we give you the wings to fly. So you can always come home. We're always here. My mum will tell you that, roots and wings, roots and wings. So I hope that the journey now at 22 and 18, and Zach's still here, so we're still going through some of the motions, but he's in that first team changing room. I'm not in that room. I can't be the one on the pitch. I can't do it. They have to do it. So I just hope that whatever we've had in this house now gives them that the foundations that they need to take their journey as far as that. I can't do anymore. I just need to be able to cook the food, buy the food, and do the washing that comes in. And I'm happy with that role until I become their PA. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll let you know. I'm working.
Oh, Emma, honestly, I honestly am so inspired by this interview. I can't tell you. It's so. Oh, we are. I promise I won't say we, because you never know. It's just me. I am so inspired by it. I mean, honestly, that wisdom, the simplicity of, who we can just be with our kids, and it's been really powerful, and I've absolutely loved it.
Thank you so much.
Genuinely. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely. I love talking to you ladies. So.
I know.
It's easy to talk about your own journey, isn't it? That's the thing, It's not hard. People say, oh, you're worried about doing it. It's like, it's not hard to talk about your children and your journey, is it? Because it's your journey. I've not had to start a quiz of something that I don't know the answer.
Oh, exactly. But also,
physics.
You're going to help a lot of people. I really feel like with that. That's just amazing, really. Oh. And we just want to end with one thing that we do, which is if we could take out a billboard and put it up in, South London, all over, and it had a message on it for other parents on this journey, what would you put on that billboard?
Oh wow, I wish you'd told me that first.
Just what you were thinking. I can relax.
And you can use what you've already used. It's fine.
Yeah. I've got a few that I would put on there for you. Or I might put on there for you.
I would say roots and wings. Roots and wings. Give them good roots, good foundation, and wings to fly. Be less harsh and critical. Enjoy the journey.
Beautiful.
We love the roots and wings thing.
We're going to get that billboard. You'll see. And it's going to be
I love that. Can I have it in a bit of red and blue?
Emma Mitchell.
In red and blue, please. Or purple.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
In red and blue.
Purple. So if you mix red and blue together, you get purple. I'm just
okay, purple. We'll go for that. I was going to say otherwise.
The wish is our command.
Definitely.
Oh,
Thank you so much. You've been so generous
thank you,
with your
ladies. It's
time.
been a real pleasure. I look
We
forward
We've
to
had
really
the best
enjoyed your
time.
company.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Take
Emma.
care. Bye.
Don't go anywhere.